Good morning, everyone. I am Pratiksha from Tank Road, MPS Secondary School, Bhandup, and we have been learning lesson, and we have been revising the lesson, that is life process in living organisms, and the top points we have colored. This is our fourth session, and we have covered the topics that are transportation. We know that the meaning of transportation. Um Let us recap quickly. The process of transportation means a substance either synthesized or absorbed in one part of the body reaches the another part. Okay, so we have learned about transportation in plants and transportation in plants. How it happens? There are two conductive tissues, that are xylem and phloem, which in which the xylem conducts the water, whereas the phloem conducts the food. All parts of the plants are connected with this conducting tissue. We have learned about excretion. The what is excretion means, the whatever the unwanted material that is accumulate in the body or retain in the body. If it is retained in the body for long time, what will happen? It can lead to serious harm or even death. So we need to remove it from our body time to time, and this process is called as excretion. Excretion is simpler in plants, where they're in animals. Excretions, there are no special type of organs in for excretion in plants. The whatever the excretory material, they are stored in the vacuoles of leaf cells and in flowers, fruits and bark of the stems, and after some time what they will do, these parts fall off, and some other waste materials are also stored in old and worn xylem in the form of resin and gum also. Okay, so these are the excretory excretion in plants. And excretion in human is a little bit complex. Some excretory system, which consists of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. And in that, urine is formed by the kidneys by separating the waste and unwanted excess substance from the blood. So we have also learned that, again, what we have learned about the coordination in plants also. So how they coordinate, like if the life goes on smoothly if there is a coordination in between the different organ systems inside our body. We have learned about, we know that we have six main systems, organ systems in our body: muscular system, skeletal system, reproductive system, right? Then respiratory system, digestive system. So these are the circulatory system. These are the different systems, and if there is a coordination in between all these systems, then the life will go smoothly. Otherwise it will get disturbed. So depending upon this, we can say that systematic regulation of different process can be called control, and bringing about the different process in the proper sequence can be called as coordination. So coordination in plants, we have learned in that growth relevant movement we have seen, like tropic movement, phototropic movement, root system, then chemotropic movements, right? So these all are called as growth relevant movement, and some are now we have also learned about the coordination in human being. Coordination in human beings means different processes go simultaneously inside the human body. All these processes need to be efficiently and effectively controlled and coordinated, and this is done with the help of two systems. We have nervous system. In that, we humans can respond to changes in their surrounding due to the nervous control. If impulses are generated in the human body in accordance with the changes in surroundings, so the nervous control plays the important role of empowering the body cells with the ability to respond to these impulses, and this ability depend upon the complexity of organization in the organism's body structure. Neuron is the so control and coordination is brought about with the help of a special type of cell, that is called as nerve cell or neuron. Nerve cell or neuron. So special type of cells which conduct impulse from one place to another in the body are called as neurons. Neurons are the structure and function unit of nervous system. If anybody asks you or any question come in the examination for fill in the blanks or any objective or MCQ type. So you need to, so if they have asked that which is the structure and functional unit of nervous systems, so you need to tell them neurons are the structural and functional unit of nervous system. So the nerve cell is the largest cell in the human body. So we have cells, longest cell, smallest cell, largest cell, right? So the largest one is nerve cell in the human body. So it measures up to few meters in length, and nerve cells have the ability to generate and conduct electrochemical impulses. The cells that support the nerve cells and help in the functioning are called as neuroglia, and the nerve cells and neuroglial cells together form the nerve. Now, what we are going to learn today, we are going to learn today types of nerve cells in human nervous system, in that central nervous system, in that brain and spinal cord, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. So let's start. So the types of nerves, we know that neurons or nerve cells are the structural and functional unit of brain, or sorry, nervous system. Okay, and these are the largest cell in the human body also. So there are three types of nerve cells, neurons there are in the body, that are according to their functions. Nerve cells are classified into three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, association neurons. So always remember these three types of nerve cells, that are sensory neurons, motor neurons, and association neurons. So what are sensory neurons? Sensory neurons conduct impulses from sensory organs to the brain and spinal cord. So let us recap quickly about the sense organs. Since we have been learning about the sense organs since we are in maybe third or fourth standard. So there are five main sense organs are there. We know that eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So all these are the sensory organs. So sensory neurons conduct impulse from sensory organs to the brain and the spinal cord. So the second one is motor neurons. Motor neurons conduct impulses from the brain or spinal cord to effector organs like muscles or glands. Sensory organs send sensors or impulse from sensory organs to the brain, right? And again, brain and spinal cord. And motor neurons, what they are doing, they are sending again from brain or spinal cord to effector organs like muscles or glands. Then association neurons perform the function of integration in the nervous system. They perform the function of integration. So you can see in the picture, motor neuron is given. Then the first one is motor neuron. What is the function of this motor neuron? It sends the it conducts impulse from brain to spinal cord. Okay. Then the middle one is association neuron, in which perform the function of integration in the nervous system. And the third one, you can see it is a sensory neuron. What it will do, what it have done, conduct the impulse from sensory organs to the brain and spinal cord. So there is a coordination between in these three, and these are the three types of nerve cells found in the body. You can see easily the structure in that the dark, or sorry, the orange color part is dendrites. Then the yellow color portion is cell body, and the middle, the lavender color or purple color, light purple color part is called as axon. So these three things are there in the nerve cells: dendrite, cell body, and axon. So these are the three types of neurons. According to their function, nerve cells are classified into three types: sensory neurons, motor neurons, association neurons. So sensory neurons means sensory neurons conduct impulse from sensory organs to the brain. Means if something happen, if we will get something, any cut or any danger thing, so what will happen, our senses, or suppose we have seen something, okay, so it is in danger, so what will happen, our the sense, the impulse so from the sensory organs, from our eyes, goes towards to brain and spinal cord. And due to this motor neuron, what will happen again, from brain and spinal cord to effective organs. Okay, so we will be what will happen, we will save ourselves from all these things. So these and the association neurons, they perform the function of integration in the nervous system, so togetherly they are working. So there are three types of nerve cells: sensory neurons, motor neuron, and association neurons. Now, the human nervous system. Three nerve cells we have seen: sensory neurons, motor neurons, association neurons. Now, the human nervous system. Let us learn about the human nervous system. The human nervous system is divided into the following three parts. The human nervous system divided into the three parts. Which are they? Central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous. So you need to learn all these by heart. The three type, the human nervous system is divided into three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. So in the picture you can see that central nervous system, in that brain and spinal cord. The brain at the upper portion, from there spinal cord is going down. Then the side ones are peripheral nervous system. Now, central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of a brain and spinal cord. The central nervous system consists of a brain and you can see easily in the picture, brain is shown and the spinal cord, which is elongating from the brain. So the organization of the brain is extremely delicate and highly evolved. See, it is very extremely delicate and highly evolved. So the brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system, and it is safely located in the cranial cavity. So where is the location of this brain? You need to learn it, like it is in cranial cavity. So the brain is very much delicate and highly evolved in all this process, and the brain is the main controlling part of this nervous system and is safely located in the cranial cavity. So the spinal cord is protected by the wood. So, see, brain. Why we are using the helmets while riding bikes? Why? Because the brain is very much delicate and it is present located in the cranial cavity, and that cavity means our head, and we need to cover it with the helmet. So if by chance we get into any type of accident, so our brain will not get damage, or because all the things, because the brain is the main controlling part of all the nervous system and all the body. Okay, so that's why we are using helmet while riding the bikes. Okay, so always remember that we need to use the helmets while riding. Now the spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. In the space between the delicate central nervous system, its bony covering are the protected layers called meninges. So the cavities present in the various parts of the brain are called ventricles, whereas the long tubular cavity of the spinal cord is called a central canal. The ventricle central canal, the ventricle central canal and spaces between the meninges are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. These fluids supplies nutrient to the central nervous system and protect it from the shock. Shock means where when we get any type of like jerks, right, while riding or driving any car, at that time we should not get any type of shock by an external force. So due to that, it is cerebrospinal fluid is present inside this, which protect the brain and also supplies the nutrition to the nervous system. Okay, so all these think this is the central nervous system. In the central nervous system you can find that brain and spinal cord is there, only the two parts. And the central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord, and the organization of the brain is extremely delicate and highly evolved. So the brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system and is safely located in the cranial cavity. Spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column, and the space between the delicate central nervous system and its bony covering are the protective layers called meninges, and the cavities present in the various parts of the brain are called ventricles, and the long tubular cavity of the spinal cord is called a central canal. The ventricles, central canal, and spaces between the meninges are filled with cerebrospinal fluid. This fluid supplies nutrients to the central nervous system and protects it from the shock. Now let us see about the structure of the brain. The brain of an adult human. See, the brain is made up of these three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. These are the main part of the brain. Okay. So, in that, what, see, we are learning central nervous system, which consists of brain and spinal cord. In that, we are learning about brain. Okay. So the brain is made up of cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. The brain of an adult human weighs about 1300 to 1400 gram. Okay, it weighs about to 1300 and 1400 grams and consists of approximately 100 billion neurons. We know that neurons mean nerve cells, which are the structural and functional unit of nervous system, right? So these are in numbers 100 billion neurons. See how many neurons are there. So all these neurons perform togetherly to make a life smooth. Okay, so the brain of an adult, or of an adult human weighs about, so you can in examination they can ask you for this in the fill in the blanks also, or in MCQ form also, like the brain of a human weighs about dash gram, so you need to write 30, if it is shown over there, 1300 to 1400 gram, and approximately 100 billion neurons are present over there. The human brain is made up of cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. You can easily see that the cream color, or the light color portion, the bigger portion is the cerebrum, and then the green color part is cerebellum, and the purple part is the medulla oblongata. Okay, it is the medulla oblongata. So this is the structure of the brain, which consists of three main things: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. And the brain consists of 30 so, the brain is weighs about 1300 to 1400 grams, and approximately consists about 100 billion neurons. Now the left side of the brain controls the right side of our body, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. See, it is in cross way. It is in cross way. You can easily see in the picture. The right side brain controls the left body part, and the left side brain controls the right body part. Okay, in our body. Okay, so the left side of our brain controls the right side of our body, and right side of our brain controls the left side of the body. In addition, the left side of the brain controls our speech and conversation. See, the left one, how it is, it helps us. It controls the our speech, whatever we talk, how clearly, how nicely, all these things. So it is speech and conversation, writing, whatever we are writing, it's all controls by the left side of left brain. Logical thinking, whatever we think, the creativity of our thinking, it depend on the left side of the brain. So if we are good in conversation, good in writing work, thinks creatively, so it means that our left side brain is more active, whereas the right side controls the artistic ability. See, the controls the artistic, you can easily see in the picture, left and right side. So the left one is the see, the analytical thinking. Okay, means you need to that person can analyze anything nicely. Numbers, good in mathematics, languages, all the languages, that person can speak well in all the languages. Reasoning, right, logical thinking, science and math. So it means that we have two part brain, left and right. In that left side, all these things you can see that the person can good in analytical thinking, good in numbers, languages, reasoning, logic, science and maths. Whereas in the right side, it controls the artistic ability, means the emotional intelligence, imagination power, expressions, art awareness, intuitions and creativity. I mean, that person is very nice in arts, means any type of art. Okay, again, left brain and right brain. See, left brain is shown in blue color and right brain is shown in red color. So blue color means left brain is again logic, realistic, in control, linear, analytical, scientific, accurate, practical, mathematics, categorize, and strategic. And whereas in right brain, it's free spirit, feelings, senses, art, creativity, poetry, yearning, sensuality, passion, imagination, and vivid. So all these things comes in, means like holistic thinking, intuition, create art and music comes in right brain, whereas the other practical mathematical things, scientific things comes in the left brain. So always remember that the left side of a brain controls the right side of our body, and the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body. Now we know the central, the brain, they have three types of cells: sensory, so nerve cells, sensory neurons, and motor neuron association neurons. Our nervous system controls with central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, and autonomic nervous system. In central nervous system, it consists of a brain and spinal cord. In that, we have already learned about the brain, that it consists of three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Again, we have learned about the two parts: the left brain controls the right one, the right brain controls the left one. And now the structure of the brain. Okay, so the biggest part, that is cerebrum, let us learn about that. This is the largest part of our brain. We have seen that the creamy green color or the light color portion, which is bigger, was cerebrum. So this is the largest part of our brain and consists of two cerebral hemisphere. Two cerebral hemisphere. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tract. They are joined together with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. The cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain. See, two-thirds of the brain. If the three parts are there in the brain, so the two parts are already the cerebrum. So it is the largest part of the brain, which consists of cerebrum hemisphere. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. The cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain, and hence it is called as the large brain. It is called as the large brain. Its surface has deep, irregular ridges and grooves. It has ridges. You can see the linings in that. Okay, so these are the ridges and grooves, which are called convolutions, and this convolution increases the surface area of the cerebrum, and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated in that. See how these ridges and grooves are helpful. How? Why? Because it increases the surface area. It increases the surface area. That's why it is called as large number of nerve cells. So this is the cerebrum, the red color part you can see in front is the largest part of the brain and consists of two cerebral hemispheres. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tract, and the cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain. Hence, it is called as the large brain. Its surface has deep, irregular ridges and grooves, which are called convolutions, and the convolutions increase the surface area of the cerebrum, and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated. Let's proceed. Cerebellum. This is the smaller part of the brain. The part which you can see, the highlighted part, the reddish part in this picture, is the cerebellum. It is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum at the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows shallow grooves instead of deep convolution. In this, we can see in the cerebrum, we can see deep and irregular ridges and grooves, which are convolution, which increases the surface area. Okay, but here in the cerebrum, what it These are having shallow grooves instead of the deep convolution. So these are the shallow grooves. Small grooves are there. Now, medulla oblongata. This is the hindmost part of the brain. This is the hindmost part of the brain. There are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids. You can see pyramid type structure is there. So this is the hindmost part of the brain. It is at the back, and there are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. This medulla oblongata continues downwards as the spinal cord. It reaches till down. Okay, so this is the medulla oblongata. So this is the hindmost part of the brain. There are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata continues downwards as the spinal cord. So understood by these three, this is cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain and consists of two cerebral hemisphere. And these hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tracts. The cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain, hence it is called as large brain, and its surface has deep irregular ridges and grooves which are called convolutions. Convolution increases the surface area of the cerebrum, and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated. This is cerebellum. This is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum at the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows shallow grooves instead of deep convolution. This is medulla oblongata, the pink portion. This is the hindmost part of the brain. There are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata, and the medulla oblongata continues downwards as the spinal cord. Let us proceed to spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord. The spinal cord is the part of CNS. CNS, we know that central nervous system, and it is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. There is a thread-like fibrous structure at its end. It is always phylum terminal. So see, this is spinal cord. In the picture, you can easily make out the upper portion is brain, and the thing and the portion which is elongating from that is the spinal cord. From the medulla oblongata, it is the spinal cord. The spinal cord is the part of central nervous system. We know that central nervous system consists of two parts, brain and the spinal cord. If we have learned about the brain, there are three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. And from this, the spinal cord, from medulla oblongata, this spinal cord reaches within the vertebral column, and the spinal cord is a part of the CNS, and it is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers towards the end. You can see that it get tapers at the end where coccyx is written. So it is thick at the thick, but gradually slowly it gets tapers. So there is a fibrous structure, and at its end it is called as phylum. It is called as phylum. In that you can see that various cleavers is there, then cervical, then thoracic part, then lumbar part, then sacral, and coccyx is there. Then the spinal cord, you can see vertebrae are there, conus medullaris, cauda equina, and discs are there. So sleep disc, we know that the things, the diseases were there. The sleep disc problems means these spinal cord get disturbed little bit. That's why the sleep disc problems were there. Okay, so the spinal cord. Now the function of the brain. Now the function of the brain. These are the parts of the brain: cerebrum, cerebellum, and brainstem, means medulla oblongata. Now the brainstem What is the function of this brain stem? It changes in heart rate, breathing, blood pressure, vomiting and swelling, and digestion takes place over here. It means in medulla oblongata. In cerebrum, intelligence, learning, judgment, speech and memory, senses of hearing, vision, taste, and smell is there in that. And skeletal muscles movement. Then cerebellum, balance and coordination and posture. All these things comes over here. So the cerebrum is control of voluntary movements, concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, and intellectual activities takes place in cerebrum. So these are the function of the cerebrums to control the voluntary movements, concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, and intellectual activities. In cerebellum, coordination of voluntary movements, maintaining the body's balance, held by cerebellum. So, and now medulla oblongata, control of involuntary activities like the beating of the heart, blood circulation, breathing, sneezing, coughing, salivation, etc. takes in medulla oblongata. And spinal cord means conduction of the impulse from the skin towards the brain, again the impulse from the brain towards the muscles and glands, and functions as center of coordination of reflex action. So all these things, these are the functions of the brain. Now one question can be you can be curious about one question, that if you see any drunken person struggles to maintain his body balance, if anybody has taken the alcohol and he is not able to balance his body, so what will happen, an excess of alcohol in the body causes one to lose control over it. Okay, so why does this happens, you know that? You need to find it out, otherwise, or I'll explain. Like alcohol consumption leads to the contraction of the brain tissues and causing depression in the central nervous system. Due to that only, the person is not able to maintain his body balance and lose the control over it. So all these things are there. So understood by this, so all these till this uh, is that. And now one question is there for evaluation, means the homework is there. You need to draw a well labeled diagram of human brain. You need to draw it perfectly. You need to draw it because it is the this part is there in ninth standard also, 10th. If you have, you will take science stream, then in 11th also, 12th also, in graduation also, if you go to medical stream, so over there also. So you need to practice the structure of the brain properly. So in examination it comes for 2 to 5 marks. Okay, so you need to draw it nicely. So the first homework is there for you is draw a well labeled diagram of human brain. You need to write a short note on human brain. So what you need to write for the human brain, whatever things you need to write, that about human brain, the brain of an human adult weighs about 1300 to 1400 grams, है ना? Consists of approximately 100 billion neurons, and then the left side of the brain controls the right side, and the right side of the brain controls the left one. Then the brain consists of three parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. You need to define all these things. So it should cover all the points. So for short notes, it comes for 2 to 3 marks. So you need to write all these things. So it should cover all the points. Then sorry, the spelling of label is wrong over here by mistake. So the you need to label it. We have seen the structure of the brain. The biggest portion is cerebrum, then the smallest one is cerebellum, and the elongated part is called medulla oblongata. So let us quickly revise all the things, so you can, what you will do, so we can understood it properly. Okay, revision is must anywhere. Without revision we can not do anything. what we have learned, types of nerves. There are three types of sorry, three types of nerves or neurons, according to the functions, like sensory neurons, motor neuron, and association neurons. Sensory neurons conduct impulse from sensory organs to the brain and spinal cord. Motor neurons mean motor neurons conduct impulse from the brain or spinal cord to the effector organs like muscles or glands. Then association neurons means association neurons perform the function of integration in the nervous system. Then the human nervous system. The human nervous system is divided into three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous system. Today we have covered the part central nervous system. Tomorrow we will cover peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So in central nervous system, what we have learned, you can see the picture: nervous hue, central nervous system, which consists brain and spinal cord only. Then the central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of a brain and spinal cord. The organization of the brain is extremely delicate and highly evolved. The brain is the main controlling part of the nervous system, and it is safely located in the cranial cavity. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column, and the space between the delicate central nervous system and its bony covering are the protective layers called meninges. Cavities present in various parts of the brain are called ventricles, whereas the long tubular cavity of the spinal cord is called as central canal. And the ventricle, central canal, and spaces between the meninges are filled with cerebrospinal fluid, and this fluid supplies nutrients to the central nervous system and protect it from the shock. Then the structure of the brain, this is homework for you. So how you need to draw all these things, you need to draw a proper diagram, you need to explain, or you need to cover all the points whatever we have learned. Like the brain is made up of cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. The brain of an adult human weighs about 1300 to 1400 grams and consists of approximately 100 billion neurons. So the light color portion is cerebrum, which is the largest portion. The green color is cerebellum, and the purple one is medulla oblongata. The left side of the brain controls the right side of our body, and the right side of our brain controls the left side of our body. Okay, so the left side of the brain controls our speech, conversation, writing, and logical thinking, etc. Whereas the right side controls the artistic ability, means the creativity and art and music. Now the cerebrum. This is the largest part of our brain and consists of two cerebral hemispheres. These hemispheres are joined with each other with the help of tough fibers and nerve tract, and the cerebrum occupies two-thirds of the brain. Hence, it is called as the large brain. Its surface has deep irregular ridges. You can see the black color portions lines. These are the deep irregular ridges and grooves which are called as in convolutions, and this convolution increases the surface area of the cerebrum, and therefore a large number of nerve cells can be accommodated. Now the cerebellum, this is the smaller part of the brain situated below the cerebrum at the back of the cranial cavity. Its surface shows shallow grooves instead of deep convolutions. In cerebrum, you can see deep convolutions to increase the surface area, but whereas in cerebellum, these are the shallow grooves instead of deep convolutions. Medulla oblongata, this is the hindmost part of the brain, and there are two triangular swollen structures called pyramids on the upper side of the medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata continue towards the spinal cord. It continues towards the spinal cord. Now the spinal cord. The spinal cord is a part of central nervous system. It is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick but gradually tapers at the end. You can see till at the down coccyx, it tapering over there. So this is the fibrous structure at its end, and it is called as phylum terminal. It is called as final terminal. Now the function of the brain, these the parts are, you can see the part cerebrum, which is the largest one, then cerebellum, and brainstem means medulla oblongata. Cerebrum, it controls of voluntary movements, concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, and intellectual activities. Then cerebellum, it coordination of voluntary movements and maintaining the body's balance. Medulla oblongata, it control of involuntary activities like the beating of heart, blood circulation, breathing, sneezing, coughing, and salivation. Then spinal cord, it conduction of impulses from the skin towards the brain, from the brain to the muscles or glands, and functions as a center of coordination of reflex action. So these are the function of all these three brains. So we these types of nerve cells, human nervous system, in that central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, we have covered this portion with the function. So there are different functions of all the cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and spinal cord. So till today we will stop here, and again we will meet on tomorrow for our last session, and we will learn about peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system with endocrine glands. So thank you so much for today. Hello, ma'am. In examination they can ask you for draw nerve cells also, which is a special type of cell which conduct impulse from one place to another. So neuron is the also the important diagram in this in this lesson. You need to draw it well. In that you need to draw well diagram of, in you need to show the dendrites also, axon, and the terminal also, and they are connected with each other. So we know that 100 billion neurons are present in that, in the body. So okay, so this information about all surrounding is collected by the ends or the dendrites of the neuron, and the chemical process begin at those ends, and electric impulses are generated and conducted from the dendrites to the cell body, and from the cell body to the axon, and from the axon to the terminal. And these impulses are then to transferred from this nerve cell to the next. Now the impulses that reaches the terminal of an axon stimulates the nerve cells to secrete certain chemicals. So these chemicals pass through a minute space called a synapses, and these two adjacent neurons generate the impulse in the dendrites of the next neuron. So you need to if they can ask you for short note also about neuron or nerve cell, so you need to draw valuable diagram of neuron, and you need to explain all the things for neurons also, how neurons are how neurons helps us to control or coordinate our day to day life. Okay, so they can ask you for this also in that. Again for brain also, you know, they can ask you about human nervous system whole for 5 marks or 3 marks. So in that also you need to explain all the three, that is central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous system. If they are ask you about the brain, so you need to explain whether you need to draw available diagram of brain. You need to explain each and every part of a cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata, and spinal cord with functions. So this is the most important part in this lesson, which relates with the nervous system. Thank you for today.